Hello, hello, hello. I'm Sack Marionette, a middle-aged lady in a tiara, whose channel name is Bargain Counter Argument because I'm not great at branding, and I am here to host a live stream. It looks like there's nobody here yet, but sometimes the count is wrong. Anita stopped by a few minutes before we started to say, "Hey, Sack, I am at an appointment and will join you afterwards if you're still here." So hopefully that appointment goes well, and I will still be here when she is in a position to watch. Otherwise, if she watches later, hey Anita. So yeah, I'm not sure. I sent out some invitations for people to join me on camera, and at least a couple of people aren't going to be able to make it. One person thought she might be able to, so we'll see what happens. Let's see. If anybody's here, let me know, unless you are somebody who prefers to watch and not comment, which is fine. All are welcome. Today I will be reading Sweet Impostor by Rosemary Carter. I love those covers, says Gwen. Yes, I found the Mills and Boon cover because I was like, Sweet Impostor? Well, what if you have the same book with different covers? Is that a Sweet Impostor? Anyway, so yes, I will be reading this, and let's see. This is the one where we have this lady called Romaine. I think of her as Renesmee because I suspect that Romaine is like one of those portmanteau names. They took two names and crashed them together and came up with Romaine. Either that or she was inspired by lettuce. Unjustly accused of causing a popular singer's death, Romaine Mallory was fired from her job, jilted by her fiancé, and damned by public opinion. Well, that's a busy day. She wanted only to escape, and Marcella Dutoit, her exact double in appearance, provided a way. See? She's the shadowy figure. Ooh. I want you to impersonate me, Marcella told Romaine. Go home to my grandparents' South African farm and get Eugene Hugo's engagement ring on your finger. She smiled slyly. Then I'll come back in time to take my rightful place as Eugene's bride. Eugene? But Romaine complicated matters by falling in love with Eugene herself. Matters were already complicated, okay? This is like some sort of weird, like, I don't even know what is going through their minds. Marcella's like, yes, you go and court this man for me, and when he proposes, I will scoop him up. And he won't at all notice that we're different people. He'll just marry me, and then he'll be like, wait a minute. You're not the chick I dated, and he will be correct. So I'm going to be reading that today. I'm actually going to start it during the 10 minutes of yuck. Not because I think it will be yucky, although this is from 1978 and it takes place in South Africa. There is potential for yuck. I have a feeling they'll just kind of ignore apartheid. But I'm not going to do yuck today because I did a lot of yuck over the last few days. I scraped out the old caulk that was sealing my bathtub and I replaced it with new caulk. It was not a fun experience. It was pretty gross in places. But I'm done with it, and I actually recorded a video around it. I didn't actually record any of the activity of decalking and recalking, but I did talk about it to camera and did some other fun stuff that I did over those last few days, which that video will be going up at, I think, 4:15 this afternoon. So you can watch it at your leisure or don't. I am not the boss of you. Okay, so I think we're going to go into the 10 minutes of yuck, and that's when you can do what I'm going to do and just like sit and read or whatever, or maybe 10 minutes to wash the dishes or, pay some online bills or answer some emails, some phones, anything you don't want to do for more than 10 minutes. And then I will come in and let you know what's happening in the book. And Maury just got here and she says, hi, Sock. Hi, everyone. Hi, Maury. And yeah, I will be starting this book. And so let's see, what time is it now? It is Oh, it's only 2:04. So we're going to go until 15 minutes past the hour because it's going to take me that long to set up the banner because edit. Oh, it's still set up for 15 minutes past the hour. Lucky, lucky me. Ooh, lucky, lucky me. Show. Okay, I will see you in about 10 minutes. Enjoy whatever it is you're doing in as much as you're able to. We're back. How'd everybody do? Did people get 10 minutes of yuck? Or did people get 10 minutes of fun stuff? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. I got a few pages into Sweet Impostor by Rosemary Carter. And I actually got to page 28 out of 187. So that's a pretty good start. I think it started on page 5 because, yeah, technically it started on page 5. So, yes, so some of my questions have already been answered, but more have arisen in their place. So it turns out that it's when it says that unjustly accused of causing a popular singer's death, Romaine is a nurse, and this popular singer died of a morphine overdose. And she was accused of having administered it. And she knows she didn't do it, but there was a trial. So this isn't just like she's in the papers or whatever. There was a trial that she was acquitted, it says, because the state didn't present enough innocence to prove, didn't provide enough evidence to prove her guilt. But in the court of public opinion, she's totally guilty. She had some money. Her parents died in a car crash, so she had an inheritance and some life insurance, but she burned through all of that paying for her own defense. And also, she's a nurse, and nobody wants to hire her because they think that, she's not a very good nurse, possibly even a malicious one. Her fiance is a doctor at that same hospital where she used to work. And he's like, even after she's acquitted, he's like, I'm a young doctor and I need to advance professionally. And if I'm married to somebody everybody thinks is a murderer, then, that's not going to work out for me. And she's like, oh, okay. So she's having a rough day. But in between her being acquitted and her fiance dumping her, this Marcella Dutoit person shows up, and they don't know each other. Marcella just shows up and is like, oh, yes, you look incredibly like me. I've been away from home for 2 years. So she lives in kind of a country. She normally would live in a country citrus farm in the Transvaal. So I think that's I think it's in southeastern or central South Africa, but I don't remember for sure. And she's like, I've been away going to art school in Paris for 2 years. And I have this French dude that I kind of have, I'm having a fling with, and he's with me here in South Africa, but I don't want to go home because I want to hang out with this French guy. I don't want to go home to this guy, Eugene, who is, it's understood that I'm going to marry him. I don't want to go home and hang out with him because he's boring and my French dude is exciting and handsome. And so I want you to go home and go through the entire engagement period. Well, she's like, so Romaine is like, why don't you just not marry Eugene? And she's like, oh, well, because Eugene's rich and he has a nice house. So I'm going to marry him, but I want to have this fling first. And then she's like, yes, I need you to get him to propose and go through the engagement for me, because what did she say? Here it is. I want you to get engaged to Eugene. I can't be bothered with the bore of going through an engagement period. It's so utterly silly. I'll just get back before the wedding. Then you can quietly disappear and I shall take my rightful place. So Romaine tells her to just pound sand. But then the fiance comes in, dumps Romaine, and Romaine's like, what am I going to do? I got to go somewhere. I can't be hanging out in crowded places where everybody thinks I'm a murderer. Also, I don't have any money, and Marcella has offered her some cash. She's like, oh, once I get married, I'll be rich, and I can give you some money. You need money, don't you? So that's where we're going. And where I am in the story, she's just arrived at the train station nearest the farm where she's going to be spending time with these other women's grandparents that apparently she's going to fool them into thinking that she's Marcella. I don't know. It seems pretty bonkers so far. And Danielle is here, Elle's Books, and she says we're reading The Geography of Saying Yes. Is that what it is? The Geography of Saying Yes? Is it another arc? So that's what I did. What did everybody else get up to, if anything? Oh, of saying goodbyes. The geography of saying goodbyes. It has a nice elderly Manish character. Nice? It has an elderly Manish character. Sorry, I'm having trouble reading today. And Gwen says, "Hallo Noi." I'm having one of those things where nothing really seems real. Let's see. Maury says, "Wow, that premise sounds even more bonkers than it did last week." I know! I know what is going on! And Emily Lost in the Library is here. Hey, hello, hanging in the background as I work on a spreadsheet at work. Ooh, spreadsheets. Tasty, tasty, I guess. Anyway, let's see. Yes, it's an arc, says Danielle. Yeah, nice. Um, so anyway, that's where I am so far. We're off to a rollicking start here. Rollicking, I'm telling you. Just like I think part of like the reason she's agreeing to do this is that she's like at a very low ebb in her life, obviously. But I'm like, what is Marcella seems like a really flaky weirdo, possibly on drugs. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe she's just high on life. Not sure. But it's just like, how does anybody think this is going to go well? And I think that Romaine is like, well, even if it goes badly, what's the worst that could happen? I've already been unjustly accused of murder and had to go through a trial. I've already been dumped by my fiance. Why not? Why not? She's got like very flat affect. I think she's like super depressed, so she's probably suggestible. Emily says, "Hope everyone is having a good week." Well, I am now that I'm finished recalking my bathtub. That was a real project. It got suspended for 24 hours because I had a migraine. The headache part of it wasn't so bad, but the other stuff, the other symptoms I was having was like, no, we're not going to be doing anything. So it took an extra day. Like I said, there's going to be a video about it that's scheduled to post at 4:15 this afternoon. Maurice says, "I am reading Stay a Spell by Amy Combe. Nice. And listening to Death by Bubble Tea while working on journal spreads. Woo, nice." Shalom moi, says Gwen. "I'm still a little confused. Are you having a stroke? Do we need to call 911? Or am I having a stroke? Does somebody else need to call 911? Could be. I don't know. Okay, so that's what's going on. Uh, it was for many years, and yeah, the headache part of it wasn't too bad. I just like kind of sat in a dark room for a couple, 2-3 hours and listened to podcasts because I have photosensitivity, but not so much sound sensitivity. So I mean, it could have been very boring. It was only like for about a half an hour when I really just needed to turn everything off and just concentrate on pain management. But I was just like, I was tired and I had some other symptoms. And part of it was when I was cleaning the old caulk out, I was using these chemicals that I don't think were doing me any favors. So it's like, I think, and I also, before I could proceed, I needed to go out and get some supplies. And I was like, I don't feel up to driving. So I lost 24 hours, but it wasn't like a miserable 24 hours. It was just kind of like time when I wasn't getting anything done with my bathroom, but it's done now. Pumpkin by Book Nook series seems like a book several of you guys would enjoy on NetGalley. Ooh, thank you for the tip, L's Books. Let's see, NetGalley. Whoa. I mean, I love the title. It's all the things that I like. NetGalley, and it was, what was it again? Pumpkin Pie Book Nook. Today is not. Okay, so it is by Harper Graham, and here is, I'm going to go ahead and read the summary for anyone who can look. It's coming out on the 18th of August. It's book 5 of Maple Falls. Here's the description. He's a single dad. Is she his new chapter? A high-flying bookaholic with book dreams who can't stick around. A protective single dad whose life is in Maple Falls. Right person, wrong timing. Or the best plot twist ever. An utterly addictive autumn romance. Gilmore Girls plus spice. Nice. Robin is totally committed to her job teaching literature at Yale. Oh, this is in my neck of the woods. Her recent heartbreak led to her to escape to a small-town bookstore, but it's only temporary, no matter how much she obsesses over its cozy nook for indulging in books and pumpkin pie. Or Tyler, its dark-haired, smoldering-eyed bookseller with an adorable little girl. Nothing could keep her from going back to her dream career, right? Tyler can't help catching feelings for the cute professor hiding behind big glasses and a secretly steamy book. But watching his daughter Emma, with her pigtails and a serious llama obsession, ooh, nice, grow attached to Robin is a problem he didn't see coming, because Robin is gorgeous, ambitious, and absolutely leaving town. Tyler can't risk Emma's heart getting broken, never mind his own. But the sparks between them become impossible to resist. With Robin's return to Yale getting closer and Tyler falling more for her every day, can they walk away from their biggest love story yet? That looks very appealing. Thank you for the tip. It sounds like maybe Yale is in my neck of the woods, but if she might be if it's too far to commute or whatever, then maybe it's not in my neck of the woods. I'm looking forward to finding out. And Gwen says, clearly I can't spell. Okay, as long as it's not like some kind of, grievous head wound. My colors are changing again. What is going on? I think I messed it up by going over to the other screen. That does sound like a fun premise, says Maury, especially the llama-obsessed kiddo. Mm-hmm. And Black Widow, Black Widow 32 says, hello, everyone. Hi, Black Widow. I don't know that I've seen you here before unless you frequently use a different name. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're doing reading productivity and potentially napping sprints. My color register is changing without my having any input. So yes, and I am reading this book. It is Sweet Impostor by Rosemary Carter. It is a Harlequin Presents from 1978, and it's pretty bonkers. Black Widow says first time. Ute. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope you enjoy being here. We like having you. So people are just talking about what they're going to be reading today. My color, what is going on here? I thought I had a stable situation. This is what's really frustrating about this, like it's kind of veering between cool and warm tones here, is that when I just check everything on my webcam, on my computer, everything looks fine. This is just happening in StreamYard. I can't move. I can't breathe. Okay. So anyway, so far we have the one lady who's been acquitted of murder but dumped by her fiance and convicted in the court of public opinion. We have the other lady who just simply doesn't want to go home just yet. She wants to have her fling with a Frenchman. And they happen to look a lot alike. So she's like, why don't you go home for me? And the lady who was just acquitted of murder doesn't have any money and doesn't have anything to do and wants to like not be around people anymore for a while. So she's like, yeah, I guess so. Okay. Why not? And also, like I said, she's pretty stressed out, pretty burnt out, pretty like, ready to just not deal with life for a while, I think. So she gets drawn into this nutty scheme. So let's see. It is half hour past the hour. So let's go ahead and have a nice long sprint. Let's go until quarter past the hour. That's 3:15 for me here on the East Coast of the United States. And I think that means I don't even have to change the banner. The banner still shows sprinting until, yep. Awesome. So 45 minutes, and I will let you know what's going on with the story when I come back, and hopefully other people will have updates of their own. So enjoy your reading or whatever task it is you are pursuing. Yeah. Uh, we're back, and no longer am I alone. I have Alicia of Birdie in the Books. Alicia has joined me, and now I'm going to add her to the stage so that all can see her in all her glory. I think I'm going to. There you
Hi! I didn't even realize what time it was. I looked at the clock and I was like, oh crap, it's 2:30, not 1:30.
go. See Doodle.
Yeah.
How you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Not bad. Not bad. I'm tired. I spent the last couple of days like recalking my bathtub.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that feeling.
I have a video about it. Although in the video I don't show any photos. The thumbnail has a photo of the tub, but I don't show any video or anything like that. I'm just like talking to the camera,
Yeah.
and I'm like, this is not an instructional video. Just do not take my word for any of this. Anyway, that's going to go up at about I think 4:15, so in about an hour.
Yay!
4:15 Eastern in about an hour. So if people are interested, there may be some discussion of books. Well, there's going to be some discussion of books.
Always.
So let's see. What are you up to this afternoon?
I was just I started an online audit of a course, so I was
Oh,
doing the introductory video or listening to it. And I made it about a chapter and a half into Girl's Girl by Sonia Feldman.
nice. What's the course?
What is it? What is the actual name? Hold on. Uh, uh, what is world literature? And you have to read like the Epic of Gilgamesh and stuff like that.
Nice. That sounds fun.
I just want to like personally just fill in some gaps of like literature that I didn't have to read in my course loads when I was in college and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see what. Let's see. Comments. Gwen said, I think just right after we went to the sprint, she said a little Prozac might help our lettuce girl. That she's talking about the female protagonist of this book because her name is Romaine.
Oh my god.
So, but spelled weird. But so I
Yeah.
was just like, what is she? Lettuce? I don't know. Also, this name, the way it's spelled, Romaine.
Oh my god.
It makes me think that it's one of those like names where you have two other people's names that got crashed together. So I keep
Yeah,
thinking of her as Renesmee from Twilight.
exactly. Like mom and dad.
But anyway, she agreed to carry out this like sweet imposter situation because she was like kind of depressed because her life had gone kind of off the rails through really no fault of her own, we
Mhm.
think. And so she agreed to this stupid thing where she's assuming someone else's identity for the purpose of getting this dude to propose
Oh geez.
marriage. And anyway, I was like, well, I think she agreed to do this stupid thing because she was at a really low ebb in her life and she was like really depressed and
Yeah.
not she was acquitted and her fiance dumped her on the same day.
Oh
So that's
geez.
why Gwen is saying maybe just some Prozac. But I
And then
think
maybe a glass of wine or two.
in 1978, I don't know that Prozac was available. I think she would have had to take an MAO inhibitor, and maybe she likes cheese too much to make the trade off. I don't know.
Or you could
And
do what they did with my like when my grandparents were growing up, just prescribe smoking cigarettes.
it's a tobacco farm.
Yeah, that was
She's like
for
looking at all
for
the
women's
fields.
health. It was always smoke cigarettes back then.
Yeah, and they'll help you lose weight, make you more attractive to your husband.
Yeah.
We see no downside. Um, Anita, she's here.
Hi.
She came like a few minutes early to let us know that she had an appointment and she's going to try to join later. And here she is. Hi, Anita. Hey, everyone.
Yay.
I finally got home from my appointment. Hooray, hooray! I'm going to be reading. Feels like home. I am going to be reading. I'm going to be reading. Feels like home by Cheryl Woods. Nice, nice, nice.
I like Cheryl Woods a lot.
I don't know that I've ever had the pleasure. Oh, they're finally picking up our recycling. It's about time.
Yeah.
I mean, I got up at like 6 and they'd already picked up the trash.
Oh,
And
that's
now
early.
getting to the recycling.
Mine can be picked up anywhere from like 9 a.m. to like 4 p.m. It just depends.
Well, our
on
trash,
what
it used to be that our trash and our recycling were picked up like within about an hour of each other, if that.
Yep.
Well, they still pick up the trash really early. But now they're like, I think this happened the last couple of weeks. They didn't get to the recycling until like, what is this, like 3:20?
It's so strange. Like it could go anywhere from like 7:15 in the morning till like 4 in the afternoon. I have to have my trash out. Just
Kristen
really
says,
odd.
"Better late than never." LOL. I think she's talking about her presence in the chat, not my thingamajiggy. Oh my gosh, not the recycling. Let's see. I want to check something really quickly. So, I want to check something. Oh, for crying out loud. Okay. And so, yeah. Anyway. And Anita says I'm on 94% of my book. Oh, nice. This is not going to take you very long to finish.
No, and
She says
you'll get
it's
it done in the next sprint.
Oh, she says it's actually called Feels Like Family, not Home. Okay, Feels Like Family. I can see the, connection. Are we ready? Are we ready to discuss
Please.
the nonsense that is Sweet Impostor? I have to say, I like Rosemary Carter's writing style. I think at this, I'm trying to find my reading glasses. They're wrapped up in a blanket vortex. There we go.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, there's a blanket whirlpool going on. I like the way she describes things. Of course, this was, when Harlequin was very emphasis on descriptions of places and clothing and hairstyles and things like that. So she does a nice job of that. I feel like a really good sense of place, because right now we're at this citrus farm where her, well, it's not her grandparents, where the grandparents live, which is adjacent to the tobacco farm where he lives. And I get this really sense of like the flowers and the animals. It's like, oh, there are monkeys on this farm because of South Africa. Well, South
Okay,
Africa.
I was going to ask, like, where?
And in terms of like apartheid, we have some servants and maids and somebody who has become a man. None of these people's races are described
conveniently.
So I think we're just the unpleasantness is not being talked about.
Yeah. But I also wonder if that's just the time period too, because I feel like in books that wasn't really talked about unless it was like the point of the book.
Not in this book. Yes, that's what I mean. Yeah. We're not describing these people physically. They're servants.
Yeah.
So, whether or not they can vote, how much they have to pay in taxes compared to other people, we're just not even, what kind of services they receive. Yeah, we're not talking about that. Not our problem. I have some tabs.
Fun tabs or roll your eye tabs?
Mostly roll your eye. Because, so the idea is she's been told, Marcella, I keep pronouncing it de toi because like French, except that that's Afrikaans, so I think it's more like de toot or something like that, de tuit. I don't know exactly. So she's kind of she's a real du toi, if you know what I mean. I was wondering if that was something Rosemary Carter did to sort of sneak a little, anyway.
Possibly.
Nominative determinism in there. She's like, oh yes, everybody knows we're going to get married. We're practically engaged. Just go up. He'll ask you to marry him because he thinks you're me. And then you just hang out and sit through the engagement, and then I'll swoop in when I'm ready to get married, and just I'll take over everything. And since he's rich, I'll give you some money, and it'll be fine. It'll be fine. And
Oh, if it's only
Marcella's
that
kind of
simple.
Marcella's kind of flaky. So she gets there, and
Right.
it's just like, okay, so she shows up. She's been away for 2 years. Well, as far as they're concerned, she's been away for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And she was supposed to come home after a year, but they're like, oh yes, but she's like, I had to do some more studying, and she's like, was studying art. And so they show her, I don't know, I think they show her some of the pictures she sent back, and she's going through them, and she's thinking, wow, how can anybody believe that she spent an extra 2 years studying art, because the stuff's not very good.
That's
But
awesome.
she's with her grandparents, because the grandparents kind of raised Marcella for the last few years before she went away to Paris, because her own parents died.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, but even so, she walks into okay, for one thing, she's a lot thinner than Marcella. Well, not a lot, but noticeably so. People are like, have you
Yeah.
been eating? What's going on? And of course, I don't know what the situation is with Renesmee here, but she's been through a lot of stress, because she was going through like a trial for murder.
Yeah.
So she's been like,
Exactly.
or at least manslaughter. So she's been really, really stressed out. So it could be that
She's
she's
been
thin,
she's
on the
been
thin
through
side,
it.
even by her own. So she's like, Marcella gave her a bunch of clothes, so she's like sneaking around, taking them in.
Like,
Okay.
oh my god.
So anyway, so she goes to the guy's farm to hang out with him, and he's been described to her as like boring and kind of a pushover. And he's just like, not like that, of course, because it's
Mm-hmm.
1978 and this is a category romance. So you know that he is manly and domineering and whatnot. Let's see.
but in a good way.
Well, by
Have
the
you,
standards of it's presented as being in a good way.
yeah.
But really, in this case, his like it's presented as just being like, he has like, he's not necessarily super strong-willed or domineering. He just like wants to have a say in his own life. I mean,
Yeah.
and so when she's, I don't know how old Marcella's supposed to be, but Romaine here is like, she's only like 22, but she's a nurse. She's like a fully qualified nurse. And
At 22. Okay.
well, 22, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
She,
I'm used to my friends like going back for nursing degrees, so they're a little bit older.
yeah, well, plus I don't know, the high school to nursing pipeline in South Africa might be
Yeah,
a little
true.
different.
True.
So, it could be that like she started in high school studying to be a nurse and then had to
Yeah.
do additional training and everything. She's still a registered nurse, you know,
Somewhere.
yeah. So I don't know. I don't think it's completely um unrealistic. So so anyway, she's like, so we're gonna get married, right? And she says, we're not officially engaged. And he's like, are we? And she's like, we're not officially engaged, she conceded. We're not in any way. Oh, I got to do the voices. We're not officially engaged. We're not in any way engaged, officially or unofficially.
That's
There's
awesome.
always been an understanding. I mean, we've both known we would be married one day. There was a time when we assumed that, granted. Aren't we saying the same thing then? I don't think so. You say we were unofficially engaged. I don't agree. There was a vague understanding, but that's all it amounted to. And she's like, yeah. So she's like, okay, I was told that he was just like gonna automatically ask me to marry him. And he's like, well, and it's like, well, the grandparents though are also have this assumption that they're gonna get married. So
Okay.
when she actually talks to the grandparents and says he's not sure that he wants to get married, they're like, what are you talking about? So I think that the part of this is what the grandparents were telling Marcella. It's not, I don't
Okay.
think it's just that she is like, anyway.
It
So,
sounds like an arranged marriage of sorts.
well, that's, and yeah, well, it sounds like the grandparents made a bunch of
Right.
assumptions and filled Marcella's head with nonsense. that Marcella took at face value.
Yeah.
And like, because Eugene is rich and has a nice house, you know, it's in her interests to think that, even though she doesn't really
Right.
want to marry him, but she does want to be a rich lady who lives in a nice house. Well, anyway, so then he's like taking her for a walk around the farm, and while they're walking around, they hear this like inhuman scream, and they rush over, and there are a bunch of farmhands standing around because one of them got injured by the tractor. And the
Okay.
farmhands are like panicking because there's like a lot of blood and they don't know what to do. And
Right.
her nursing instinct kind of kicks in. So she immediately starts telling people, you know, you do this, you do that, you do the other thing. I'm going to
Right.
stabilize the patient. And so she stabilizes the patient, and then the ambulance comes, and Eugene's like, well, you handled that well. And she's like, uh-oh, I'm not supposed to know how to do any of that. Oh my gosh,
She's
I got to
just
stop
supposed to
right away.
act like she's being flighty, I guess.
I got to stop right away because I can see there's a comment from Jill. Jill is here. Hey, everyone. She says, I took today off from work and had a couple of routine doctor appointments. This morning, and my truck went back into the shop, so I decided to just take the entire day off. Well, it's nice for us to see you, Jill. Jill used to be
Hi.
a regular back when she had to work Saturdays but had Wednesdays off in exchange.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And then they changed the hours so that she didn't have to work Saturdays anymore, but she does have to work Wednesdays, so she can't be here. So it was very nice to see you, Jill. And I'm reading Through the Smoke by Brenda Novak. Nice, nice. Well, you're part of her readers club, aren't you, Jill? I'm pretty sure she is, because I mean, I don't see her here, but I see her in other people's, live streams and so on.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so it's not like I don't get any Jill time at all. I do, just not on Wednesdays.
You just don't see her as much as you used to.
And she says, you too. Mm-hmm. Yes, I am. Yeah, I thought so. So we're talking about Sweet Impostor by Rosemary Carter. It's bonkers. So anyway, so she's like, oh, maybe I wasn't supposed to, but just like, what was I going to do? Let this guy like bleed out in front of me and
Yeah.
so I could pretend I didn't know what to do. Anyway, this is so funny because she's laying in bed at night thinking about her circumstances. 3 months must be spent here. 3 months in which she must play a role which she had agreed to on impulse born of despair. 3 months in which to bring about an engagement, a task which seemed ever more distasteful. She was beginning to despise herself for her own part in the matter.
Oh, jeez.
It seemed now that there was something immoral in trying to force a commitment upon a person when the surrounding circumstances were steeped in untruth. At the time when she had agreed to Marcella's plan, she had been so filled with bitterness that this aspect of the matter had not occurred to her. There had been no suggestion that persuasion would be needed, for the Eugene of Marcella's description had been an eager, impatient bridegroom. The only deception would have been the fact that Romain would have worn his ring until Marcella had been ready for it. That's a pretty big deception. And what about the grandparents?
Yeah.
She's fooling the grandparents, and the grandparents are kind of
I
just
would think
dumb,
the
I guess.
grandparents would figure it out before he would.
You would
Like,
think.
they know their grandkid.
If I disappeared for 2 years and somebody who looked kind of like me, or even looked exactly like me, came back,
Yeah.
Mom Marionette would be, I don't know who you are. I don't know.
Exactly. Like, moms always know.
Well, of course, these are the grandparents, and maybe that's supposed to help sell the idea that...
Maybe.
I mean, she gets there right away and makes a mistake because she's offering to help the grandmother cook. And we later find out that Marcella, when she left, didn't cook. So she's like, oh, I learned to cook while I was gone. And she's making all these things, including pumpkin pies. But she's making all these, like, South African hits. And so one of them, I think it's Eugene, you learned how to cook South African farm cooking in Paris? And she's like, well, I learned to cook. It's all basically the same thing, which, that's kind of true. But anyway, right away she offers to help cook. She's like offering to help cook right away because she's like, oh, it looks like your arthritis is really bothering you. The grandmother had never told Marcella that she had arthritis, But of course, Romaine realizes it right away.
Right, being
She's
a
like,
nurse.
"Oh, she's moving like somebody with arthritis," and she's like, "Oh, you must have written it in a letter and like forgotten." Gwen says, "I'm sorry. In what world is Eugene a romantic name? I think it's supposed to be pronounced Eugene. It's got a little accent over the second E. Eugene. If your name is Eugene Hugo, it's not the same thing as being Eugene Hugo. But yeah, her name is Romaine. She has no place to stand and complain. Um, let's see. Okay, and this is like, but even though she's like starting to have qualms and she's realizing I agreed to this on like literally the worst day of my life.
Yeah.
She says, much as okay, and she is actually finding that being kind of in the country, in the farm, is just like is healing. It's relaxing, and it's like she's spending most of her time in nature, and she is finding that it's helping. So she says, much as she reveled in the peaceful atmosphere of the farm, she must not delude herself that she was here for a holiday. Marcella had made it quite clear what she expected, and loathsome as the task had now become, Romaine had agreed to undertake it. You're allowed to change your mind. You don't owe anything to the flaky weirdo who just showed up your apartment and said, "Hey, you kind of look like me. Why
That's
don't you
what
go do?"
I ask. Were they like friends to start with? Is that
No,
how this
no. I
happened?
kind of
Okay.
assumed that they were, but she just like shows up at her house. And like Romaine is so distraught by the events of the day that she doesn't even realize that they look alike
Oh,
until she's like,
jeez.
"Here, stand in a mirror next to me. Look, see, we look alike." She's like, "Oh, that's why you look kind of familiar to me because you look like me." And it's just like so. They don't know each other at all. So she just like kind of agreed to do this in the hopes that at some point she'd get paid. Like the flaky weirdo is going to ask you to do a strange thing and then pay you for it.
And
She's a flaky
disappear
weirdo.
for God knows how long.
Yeah. Um.
Because that's something I could see in like those older movies where it's like I've known you for 10 years, we look like sisters, pretend to be me.
Yeah.
Like,
But they've never even met before. I thought maybe they were in the
right,
same social
that's
circle or something, but no,
weird.
not even that. Um, let's see. She had been hired quite cold-bloodedly to perform a task. All that was required of her was that she go about achieving her purpose with the same cold-blooded scheming with which it had been masterminded. On Marcella's return, Romaine would disappear from the farm and nobody would miss her. Nobody would ever know that a girl called Romaine Mallory had lived in their midst. And it's like, again, why do you feel like you're obligated to do this? And also, has it not occurred to you that maybe she'll just kill you and dump your
Or
body?
she could be like not thinking clearly and something really bad could happen.
Yeah, it's like Marcella might come back and kill you. Or she
Yeah.
might again. I would be concerned about non-payment, especially as she meets Eugene. Does she really think after she's had a chance to meet him and learn that he's really not the pushover he was described as being? Does she really think that Marcella's going to be able to get her mitts on enough money to make this worth her while?
No.
And yes, we have the bit where she's making pumpkin pies. That came up earlier because Elle's books, Danielle Dodson was recommending a book that is currently on NetGalley, which is coming out later. It is called The Pumpkin Pie Book Nook, and
That sounds like a
it's
title.
a fall kind of book. So I just thought, oh, pumpkin pies, they came up. Oh, and then she also has this thing. Well, he kisses her at one point, and he's like, "Oh wow, you're a more experienced kisser than you used to be. You must have been running around France." And she's like, "Well,
Okay.
you've been seeing women. You don't have any room to talk." And he's like, "Well, I'm just making an observation." And then so they're kissing again, and he's like making the moves on her, and she says, "There's something I don't understand. When you marry, don't you want your bride to be a virgin?"
Oh,
He laughed
geez.
softly, making her feel very young, very vulnerable. Do you really think virginity is the only yardstick of desirability? So it's like he's pushing back on this idea that like why would I want to marry a virgin specifically? What kind of weirdo talk is
I
that?
like that. I like that part though, because
Yeah.
I read one. I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago, where this woman
Yeah.
stayed a virgin purposefully because she never had relations with the guy she was interested in, so she stayed a virgin until like 35. until
Yeah.
they decided to get together. It was just like,
Yeah, and he's like,
I don't buy it.
well, even and after he's like saying that, oh, you were running around with other men in Paris, just like, doesn't that bother you? And he's like, why would it? I'm not. It's just like, why are you criticizing? He's like, I'm not criticizing you. It's a statement of fact. It's
I
like,
don't
why would it
own
bother me?
you.
What?
like he doesn't own her. Like
Well, not
they
only that,
weren't
but as far as he's concerned, they're nothing to each other except like they
right.
knew each other before. Like he doesn't think that they're secretly engaged to be married or whatever.
Right.
And then we have more where she's talking about how enchanted she is by the peace and beauty of the farm. It had been the haven she had sought, a refuge where she was able to recover from the trauma of the trial. And yet she had been wrong in coming here. So it's just more of like, oh, and now suddenly on page 123 out of 188, she's
I was
suddenly
going to ask you how
realizing
long
that.
is it?
What?
I was going to ask you how long is
Yeah.
it because it looks really short.
120. And she's like, suddenly it occurs to her that maybe it's not a very nice thing to do to the grandparents.
Just now.
Just now.
Oh my god.
Okay, and it's like she's decided that she has to leave because by now she knows that she's in love with Eugene and that she's never going to be able to marry him. He's being set up to marry somebody else by her.
Right.
And
Especially
so
when
she's
you
like,
lie to the man to his face.
yeah, but even so, it's in the interest of his marrying somebody else. It was one thing
Right.
to know she must. It was one thing to know she must leave, quite another to achieve it. She could not just vanish from the farm. Apart from the anguish she would give to the grandparents, she owed it to Marcella not to expose her. Why?
She doesn't know you.
What the other girl had planned was dishonest, but it was a dishonesty with which Romaine had fallen in line. In the circumstances, she was obliged to show the other girl loyalty. Again, I ask, why?
Loyalty for what?
It was too late to sit in judgment on Marcella's integrity. No, it's not.
No.
The fact that at a very low moment you agreed to this cockamamie scheme and went along with it for a few days or, a week or two, doesn't mean you can't call a halt to the whole thing. And it's what she said, like 2 conversations with Marcella, whom again not even known to her. Well, one was
You
the
don't know
extent,
her.
yeah,
That's
and
weird.
then actually asks her to marry him, and then she's like all into it, and then she realizes no, he's talking about Marcella, and
Yeah.
but he just
And
kind
she's
of changed
pretending
his
to be
mind.
someone else.
Right, he kind of changed his mind, and I don't know if he's just like calling her bluff or what. I haven't, because that was just before the sprint ended. But it's kind of like the idea that he changed his mind, and after saying that he didn't want to get married, we're not engaged. What are you even talking about? Now he wants to marry
Right.
her. It's because he got to know her and liked what he got to know. And guess what? That wasn't Marcella.
Right.
So, I mean, if that's what's going through his head, but she just assumes that, oh, he really wants to marry Marcella. It's like, no, he doesn't. He didn't before. Why would he now? And,
This is giving me the vibes of like the I think it was a romantic comedy from the early 90s. I was really really little, but I fell in love with it. It was called Only You. It had Marissa Tomei and Robert Downey Jr. in it.
okay,
And
I haven't seen it.
this is exactly what it sounds like. He hires this guy with really long hair because she was told when she was a kid that she would meet this guy named, I forget the guy's name, when she's in her like 25, and she goes to Italy to meet this guy, and her friend who's Robert Downey Jr. hires this guy to pretend to be him because like that's exactly what it sounds like.
To me, it almost sounds like a little bit in terms of the deception. It's while you were sleeping.
Yeah. Yep.
So
I do love
anyway,
that movie though.
so we came to the sprint just as I was reading. Let's see. And she says, "You still want to marry me?" And he says, "Of course. I wouldn't have asked you if I didn't." Mischief gleamed in the handsome face. "Just don't make the mistake of thinking you've deceived me, Marcella. You haven't." So I think he totally knows that she's not
Yeah.
Marcella. And
Yeah.
she's but he's like, just stringing
He's
her
playing with the
along.
bit
Yeah,
still.
playing with her. And she's thinking, but Marcella has deceived you, and so have I. You're in the grip of a deception you do not deserve. Well, anyway, that was when we came off the sprint. So yeah, so I'm on page 140. So I've only got like 48 pages to
Oh,
go.
you got
I got this.
this.
Um,
Easy.
anyway, but yes, this is just like it's bonkers because the last couple of times I read these ones that I thought they were going to be bonkers, and the execution was just not as bonkers as it could have been.
Yeah.
Bonkers, bonkers, bonkers.
Sometimes that's fun though. Like even though you're like, I know this technically isn't a good book, but it's fun. Like
You're going
it's
to be
ridiculous.
bonkers, commit to it.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
And she has committed because that Heather Graham book, it was like, this is bonkers, but she keeps pulling away from the like bonkers part of
Fully
it.
going.
Yeah, it's just like you can do this. You can just fully commit to the bit.
Sometimes it's fun just to go with
I
it and
think
just be like,
if
this
she
is
wanted to make it
ridiculous.
even more bonkers, Marcella would be like off in like the next town over, constantly demanding updates. That would be awesome. But you
Yeah.
know, that would be really, really bonkers. But as it is, it's pretty bonkers. So I think I'm going to finish it during the next sprint.
Sounds good.
How about you?
I will be working on Girl's Girl. My good
Okay.
friend Bree recommended it to me. And she
Another
said it's like
birdie?
it's hmm?
Another birdie?
Bree. Her name she used to
Oh,
be
Bree.
Bree Hill. She used to be Bree Hill on YouTube, but she doesn't do YouTube anymore.
Okay. I thought you said
Um
birdie, and I was like, that's you.
no.
Okay, so Bree recommended it. What's going on in this one?
Um it seems like a very small town in Ohio. This girl is trying to figure out she thinks she's gay, but she doesn't want to say anything to her parents because she grew up in a small town.
Oh,
And
she's that kind of girl's girl. Gotcha.
yeah, and I think she's trying to figure out, at least to the part that I got, she's trying to figure out if she's attracted to her friend or if she just loves her friend for like friendship's sake.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that's as far as I got. And it's not that
And
long. It's
who's
like
this by
200
again?
and Sonia Feldman.
Okay.
It's her first book as far as I could tell. It's not long. Let's see. Let's get to the It's 244 pages, so it won't
Nice.
take long. Yeah. Ah, there we go.
Okay, well, it is 47 minutes past the hour. And how about a short sprint to 15 minutes past the hour? Because that's
Sounds
where the
good.
banner's already set. And if people, I don't know, I assume Kat is doing her sprint at 4:30 Eastern,
Okay.
because there might be people who want to migrate over there. So
Gotcha.
I should be able to finish it in that time. So happy reading or anything else people happen to be doing. I did the wrong thing when I was taking myself off mute. I just removed myself
I
from the
looked
stage.
up and it was just me. I was like, oh no.
And then when I put myself back on, but when I tried to unmute myself, my taskbar popped up and it would not go down. It was blocking the
Oh no.
microphone icon. And I'm like, go down, go down. Anyway, I finished the book.
Yay.
Do we have questions?
What happened? I want to know what happened. I'm curious.
Okay.
I'm sure there was a meetup of all three of them, which
Yes,
probably was the most
actually.
interesting.
So they have an engagement party. And during the engagement party, he's like, "Oh yes, and we're getting married in 2 weeks." Oh no, actually, I think it was while they were planning the engagement party. He's like, "We're getting married in 2 weeks," and she's like, "But," because she's been writing to Marcella and letting
Mhm.
Marcella know what's happening, but Marcella hasn't been answering. And so she's like, "I'm not going to know who any of the people at the party are," but she can't come up
Right.
with a reason not to have the party. And as for getting married in 2 weeks, she's like, "Well, I just hope Marcella shows up now that I've written to her that the engagement has happened."
Yeah.
And so so they go to the party, and what she does is she just says hi to everyone, and they end up sooner or later. She's like, sooner or later they say their names. So she's like, whatever, man.
Yeah.
Well, then she gets upset about something and she goes running off. Or she goes for a walk. I think it's just that she goes for a walk and she gets caught in a storm. And of course, if she knew anything about the country, she would have known the storm was coming. Well, he finds
Right.
her. He finds her because she goes to her favorite spot. He finds her and he's like, "Oh, there's this cave over here. We'll just go sit in the cave." They sit in the cave and they end up conducting some hanky panky. And then they sleep in the cave overnight because the storm's not going away. And they're like, it's safer to stay here than it is to go back. So then they go back to the grandparents, and Marcella's at the grandparents.
Oh, geez.
And so she comes in and she's like, "Oh, thank goodness Marcella's here." But then the grandparents are like, "Who is this woman?"
Who are you?
They're saying that to Marcella though, not to Romaine.
Oh.
They're like, Romaine. They're saying to Romaine, "Marcella, who is this woman who just came in here, sat down, and started drinking tea?" And so they've come to believe, and let me see. We can have.
My grandmother would know it isn't me. That's one thing I could say. Just by how someone talks, my
It
grandmother
turns
would
out
know it was not
everybody
me.
just likes her more than they liked Marcella. So when
Yeah.
she's like nicer and more capable and everything,
Marcella sounds like a pill.
yeah, they're like, "Oh, being in Paris did you a world of good. You became the
Yeah.
person we always wanted you to be."
Right.
So, and then Marcella, what is it? She says, uh, well, they arranged to do this swap. So Marcella's at the breakfast table because she thought Romaine was gone and she was just going to. And now that they're both in the same place
Oh.
at the same time, she's like, "What are you doing here? You were supposed to be gone." I
Well,
was
you don't
stranded.
communicate.
I was stranded in a storm because the idea was that she was going to go out for one last walk and then come back, pack up her stuff, and go.
And
And
leave,
then,
yeah.
yeah. Stranded. And then Marcella's like, "Stranded. You did it on purpose. You little," calls her the B word.
Yeah.
And Marcella was about to hit Romaine when Eugene caught her hand. Suddenly, Romaine was very angry. "Don't call me that again." Okay, she's standing up for herself. And Marcella says,
Finally.
I'll tell you what I damn well like. "Well, you plan to get stranded." And then the grandparents are like, "We don't understand. What is going on? Who is this girl?" Meaning
Right.
Marcella. And then Marcella says, "Give me my ring and then we'll then clear out of here." And and Eugene's like, "No." And she's
Yeah.
like, "You don't." And Marcella says, "You don't understand, darling." And he says, "I think I do." And she says, "That's my ring she's wearing." And he's like, "Is it?" And she's like, well, of course, I can explain everything and I will. It's a damn nuisance that Romaine messed things up this way, but it really doesn't change anything. The ring is mine. And he's like, I gave it to Romaine. And of course, Romaine is just like, I can't take any of this. I am out of here. So she stomps off and he chases after her because she's his priority. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, he knew that she wasn't Marcella from the beginning.
He was
And
just waiting to see how long it took till she
he wanted
cracked.
to see what was going on. He wasn't sure what was going on, but she had said something that made him think that she was from Johannesburg, which she is. So he kind of
Yeah.
took her picture. He took her picture on the sly, and then went to Johannesburg because at one point he's gone for several days,
Mm-hmm.
and he goes with this girl he's been seeing before she came. Well, it turns out that he went with the girl she'd been seeing, but the girl he went with the girl he had been seeing, but the woman he'd been seeing, but that was because he broke it off with her. So she just went with
Okay.
him. She just went with him to Johannesburg because he broke it off with her because he's like, oh, I met the one. And so Yvette is her name. And so Yvette is just like, okay, well, if you could just give me a ride back to Johannesburg, that would be appreciated. So it's like
Right.
they went to Johannesburg together, but it was like, he was just
Handled
giving
like
her a ride.
adults.
Yeah, handling it like adults. And so he went to Johannesburg with this picture of her that he took on the slide to try to figure out who she was.
Right.
And one
Smart.
of the places he stops in is a newspaper reporter. And the newspaper reporter's like, oh, yeah, that's this chick who murdered that guy. Except that it turns out that, like, less than a week after the acquittal, after she'd already gone to the farm and has just been
Mm-hmm.
like hiding on the farm, something happened that demonstrated that the reason there was no evidence was that she didn't do it. I'm not
Right.
sure exactly what the exculpatory stuff was, but let me see. Oh yeah, because that's what before Romaine bugs out, Marcella, when after Eugene says, "Well, no, I'm going to marry Romaine, not you. What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
Marcella's like, "I should tell you that it's my duty to tell you you're marrying a murderess."
Oh, geez.
And that's when Romaine is just like, "I am out of here." Let me see. I can't remember what it was.
She's better than me. I would have been out of there after like week 2.
Yeah, well, what is it? It's like kind of a throwaway. It's like a real throwaway that oh, it's just someone came forward with the real story of what happened the night that the man died.
Conveniently.
But it doesn't say what really happened. And she never said what really happened. It was just like, I didn't do it. Which, I mean, yeah, she shouldn't have to provocatively provide proof that she didn't. They should prove that she did.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just kind of like the whole thing is just like a throwaway. So anyway, he's like, yeah, I knew from the get-go that you were not Marcella because I actually liked you. And she says,
That's
what about
awesome.
the grandparents? And he's like, they liked you too, and they wanted to believe that you had gotten to be a better person while you were in Paris.
Yeah.
Obviously, Marcella did not improve at all. So he's like, yeah, he had figured it out, and he was just waiting for her to like tell him in her own time
Admit
and
it.
admit it and that kind of thing. And he's very affectionate toward her. He's not like it, you don't get the impression that she's going to be hearing about this every other day for the next 20 years.
Yeah. Or if they have a big argument when 20 years from now, that's going to come back up.
Yeah. I should have known not to trust you, Marcella. But here in the comments, Anita says she finished her book.
Yay!
Hooray! How was it? How was it? Was it good? And Jill says that she is halfway done with Through the Smoke, which is probably one of her 15 current books that she's reading. Jill
Can't do
always
more
has a
than
lot of
3
books
at a
going.
time.
Huh?
Yeah. I can't do more than 3 at a time. And they have to
Yeah,
be like
that's about.
they have to be
That's
vastly
kind of.
different.
Yeah, it kind of depends. I mean, I used to have to read a lot of different books at a time when I was in school.
Yeah.
But in
I
terms
never
of
lost
leisure,
that
I can
ability to
have
be able
like
to do it.
never more than 4 at a time, I would say.
Yeah.
It's a great skill if you have it, but I don't. Anita says she gave it 4 stars.
Yay, that means it was solid.
For me, 3 is solid, 4 is really good, and 5 is wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like with all my friends, I'm like, what do you consider a 3? Like
Yeah.
some people are like, I didn't like it, but it was written well, and then
Uh-huh.
some people are like, it was fine. That's what a 3 means. It was fine. I always find it very interesting.
Mm-hmm. And Kristen says, my room is almost habitable again.
Yay!
My bathtub is bathable again. And I got to 5% of comeback summer.
That name's so good.
Jill's like, it's probably 15. And that's if you don't count the various periodicals she enjoys, like Yankee Magazine and Southern Living. She's got like the regional lifestyle magazines covered. Although Yankee
Oh,
is
that's
really,
awesome.
well, Yankee's not just lifestyle. Well, neither is Southern Living for that matter. Anyway, so I would say this is probably 4 stars.
You had a good time with
It is
it.
a fine example of its genre. I like
Yeah.
her writing style. I liked that she was having these moments of self-reflection. I don't know. I think it was taken for granted that I would understand why she felt like she couldn't back out of this stupid situation.
Yeah.
It was kind of like where I was supposed to say, it's like I'm loyal to her, and it's like why,
Like she
I
didn't sign
wish,
over a blank check to you. I would get
yeah,
that
yeah.
if it was like,
Right,
here's a
right. And
blank check.
it's
If
like
you do what
you
you do,
realize, and,
go.
and she's like thinking, I agreed to do this stupid thing because I was having such a rough time of it and I needed to
Yeah.
get away. And so it's like that makes sense. But I wish she had done a little more thinking about why she can't walk away. I
Yeah.
mean, at one point she thinks,
It sounds like a plot of like a Lifetime movie.
yeah. And I think I mean, at one point she like I understand that like she's kind of got a conflict because she's developed feelings for this dude.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't understand this misplaced loyalty to Marcella.
No, she
This
doesn't
flaky
like you
weirdo she's won
apparently,
twice.
so
And she's like, it seems to be like she also thinks that because she agreed to do it, that somehow means she can't back out or something. And it's like,
mm-mm.
you agreed to do a flaky weird thing with a flaky weirdo.
That is one thing I've noticed as I've gotten older is like just because you say yes doesn't mean you can't back out later.
That's another thing is she's 22, so it kind of makes sense
Yes.
to me. But I wish she had
Hmm.
like thought of it at least, and at least
Yeah.
thought, oh, you know what? What why do I owe, because she feels like she owes Marcella something, but I'm not sure what, just for the
Yeah.
opportunity to get out of town. Maybe that's it, but I just wish she had thought about that a little bit more.
Or the
We could see.
lifeline of getting out of the situation she was in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I just wish there had been a little more consideration to that. But overall, I
Absolutely.
liked it, and I liked the commitment to the bit, from the writer.
At least she went there, you know?
She went there. She was like, I am, this is nuts, and let's just see where it goes. And I liked it. And I liked that he was just like, he didn't even like, he wasn't mad about it or anything.
That
Even
was the
before,
part that
he
I
was
was
just
like,
like,
it could either go really bad or be fine.
well, he was just like, he really liked her. He was like, she's not Marcella, like I said, because I actually like her and I'm
She's
into
not
her.
stuck up.
And I think they don't get into it too much, but I think once he went to Johannesburg and found out what had happened, that it kind of
Yeah.
like any question he had as to why she did it probably just vanished. He would have been like, oh, yeah, she needed to get away from this. And he
Yeah.
said
That makes sense.
once he found out who she was, he talked to the lawyer, and the lawyer says, yes, she was exonerated, and I've been trying to get a hold of her. If you see her, could you let her know?
Yeah, she's fine.
Because of course she took off and didn't leave any contact info. Because in
Of course.
1978, it's not like she's checking her
A cell
emails.
phone.
Yeah, she's not checking her emails. She's not checking the Instagram updates. She's not checking the news because
Exactly.
she does not want to engage with the news.
Which is fair.
She's just hiding out and so that was that book. It was
Sounds
bonkers good
fun.
time. It was exactly what
Yeah.
I needed. It was exactly what I needed to unwind after the stress of doing a DIY home improvement, home maintenance task I'd never done before. don't ever want to do again, frankly.
Yeah, caulking something is not fun.
If you want to see the video where I talk about it but don't show it, it should have posted already because it's 4:30, and I scheduled it for 4:15.
I love scheduling my content. It makes it so
And
much easier.
it's like a present to it's past me made a present for current me. You don't have to
Yeah,
worry about it. There
exactly.
may, spoiler alert, there may have been a little bit of a book haul.
Yay!
So, anyway, so what you got coming up?
I will be filming my pile of possibilities. I know it's going to be late for August. I'm filming that Friday, so that should be out hopefully by like Monday. And I have a couple tags that people tagged me in that I'm going to finally be able to film now that we finally figured out why my stuff got corrupted and stuff like that. We're gonna
Well, if you ever
avoid
want
that.
to tag me, go ahead.
Oh, absolutely. I have you already. You're already on the list of people to tag. So I have two. I have two to film, and you'll be probably tagged in both because I would be curious about your answers.
Nice.
And I have to film a discussion covering some Star Wars books that I read with a friend.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
I'm getting like a weird distorted echo of myself.
You sound
Okay, it
fine to
seems
me.
yeah, it sounds good now.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. I have that video that just went up. I want to film a flip through Friday. It's going to be another book that's like those two that I covered last week and the week before.
Mhm.
I was going to save that for a couple of weeks, and then I decided, no, I'll just keep on with it. And I'm hoping that I can film and post on Saturday, well, record at some point, edit, and then post on Saturday. Sister picks my TBR because Sister's birthday is on Saturday. So I just,
Oh, happy
that's
early
kind
birthday
of,
to your sister.
yeah, that's kind of my informal deadline is to have that posted on her birthday. And so, but I just really kind of need to get a lot of rest because the last few days have been a lot. So,
That's important because
and then
running on E is not fun.
next week, midweek motivation, 2 p.m.
Yay!
Eastern, and I will be picking a new book
And
and
I will be
possibly
able to make it because I don't have doctor's appointments until
nice.
the
So you
middle of
can help
September.
me.
So yay!
You can help me pick a book
Yes.
and then watch me read it.
Yay!
And Jill says, "Happy early birthday to your sister." I'm sure she would thank you for that. She is going to be 63.
Yay!
You're like,
I was doing that. I'm doing the math in my head.
she's 7 years older than I am.
Okay, so you basically have the same age gap of me and my brother.
Nice.
We're,
Yeah,
we're
because
six.
I'm 50.
We're 6 years apart.
I mean, she's going to be 63. I'm not going to be 56 until November, but
Okay,
7
you're a
years apart.
November baby.
Yeah. And Anita says, thanks for the sprints. You're welcome. And I hope that you have a good rest of your week. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Be safe. Stay cozy, everyone. Hope to see you all soon. Thank you so much, Anita. I hope everything's going well with you. And yeah. Hope to see you next week. And
Yeah.
also, she adds, happy birthday to your sister. Yes, I think that she and her partner are going to go to have some delicious food because they're kind of foodies and so on.
I love hanging out with
They live
babies.
in Sacramento, which is kind of far from here.
Oh, nice.
So, okay. Well, thank you for joining me on screen. Thank you for joining me in the comments. Thank you for watching back later, if that is in fact what you are doing. And I hope to see people next week, one way or another.
Yay.
Bye.
See you next week.